Okay, we're live.
Yay!
Hey, Jashana's running a little bit late, but she'll be joining us in a second. So we didn't lie. Jashana will be here.
Yeah.
So this is my channel, so you hopefully know who I am. I'm not going to introduce myself, but Jessie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Jessie from Channy channel Jessie May, and I talk about fantasy books and all sorts of genres, actually. So yeah, that's me. I never know how to introduce myself.
I know, me neither. I always hope when I ask other people to do it, I'll like take notes for what they say. Be like, how is this done?
Like,
What is the elevator pitch for yourself as a human?
Yes, right.
So yeah, I mean, like that's basically what I said in my I guess in my wrap-up video where I said we were doing this, that like we were just like watch the trailer, we were like, we want to read the books now.
Yeah, because the trailer, when that dropped and everyone was reacting to it, all I wanted was to be back in the Grishaverse.
Yeah.
So awesome. So I'm super excited that we're doing this.
Yeah, me too. And like I kept thinking that I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to squeeze in a reread like before it drops. Well, whatever. I know I've read them. And then seeing that trailer, I was like, we're squeezing it in. It's happening.
Yeah, I never do rereads. I need to get better about rereading like old favorites. And for some reason, I don't know why I don't, because I had so much fun rereading it. And it's so quick. Like once you've read it once, it's like so easy to reread stuff.
Well, especially with like older YA that was like shorter and quicker.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, like I got through this in like 2 sittings. It was great. So easy.
No, I remember like actually reading this. It was kind of like when I first started going back and watching Disney movies when I was older. And I was like, wow, they just like fell in love during a song. I don't remember this moving along so quickly.
Yeah, like I guess we'll get into it, but there was so much from this book that I thought had come in sequels, and I was just shocked that we were like already there by the end of this book. And yeah, so yay!
Hey, Jashana.
Hey.
Would you like to give us the elevator pitch for your channel?
Oh yeah,
briefly.
Yes, hello. It is Jashana is my channel name also, and I talk about mostly fantasy, but also sometimes some historical fiction and like romance stuff here and there. There we go.
There we go. And we are all big, like for all of us, the Shadow and Bone is a reread.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
So we're all fans of that.
yes.
So yeah, we were just saying how like rereading it was like faster than we remembered the first time.
Yeah, same. Like I was like shocked when I started reading. I was like, dang, I'm going through this like pretty quickly, because I feel like I'm typically kind of a slower reader, but yeah.
Yeah. And are we like starting off spoiler free, or are we like good to get into spoilers?
Do you want to start spoiler? I kind of feel like it's been out for forever and it's a reread. Like,
yeah.
Spoilers incoming.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
It's also the first book in a series, so like it's not going to be as spoilery as the second or third book in a series.
True.
That's true.
So
yes. But I was going to say, like, I did not remember all of the stuff with her and Mal in the woods being in this book. I don't know why I thought in my mind that was in Siege and Storm, like all of those scenes.
I kind of did too.
Oh, we're already here.
Because I remember feeling like when she like gets reunited with him, I remember it being a longer period of time where I was like, oh, I wish she'd patch things up, because like this was a miscommunication. Like after he like sees her with the Darkling and is like, oh, I guess you've been fine this whole time, and leaves. I remember like after that just being like, oh, I wish they could explain things to each other. And then like this reread, I was like, they explain things to each other like 2 pages later. Like that was like barely any time.
And I don't know why I thought when I first read it, and I first read it like 6 years ago. So it was like a while ago. And I thought for some reason, like there were way more scenes of her and the Darkling, like having their like little fling thing.
Yes. I think there are more in Siege and Storm.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like reading it being like, why does she even think about him more than like, oh, he's the Darkling. Like being on like, oh, we have something, but we don't. But like, you really don't though. Like, he's talked to you like a handful of times and randomly kissed you once.
When we were reading this, like, and we were like, why did we hate Mal? And I'm like, I still always loved Mal, but I remember them like being once again at odds at some point with him like secretly bare knuckle boxing somewhere or something like that. And I feel like at that point in time, she's also more with the Darkling again. So like, I think we retrogress in the next book where they're split again and she's with the Darkling again.
Okay. Yeah. I don't remember the second book like at all.
Yeah.
And I see someone asking if this is going to be a spoiler.
Oh yeah. I was going to say like,
so,
we're going to try.
I mean, I don't remember anything.
I don't either. So I can't spoil anything because I don't.
So
it's been so long.
I'm curious, like because I thought like half the stuff in this book was in the next book. So
yeah, I don't remember the plot really at all.
I do remember being excited to read the next one because like I read these like 3 years ago, I think, but by then I had most of my knowledge of these books was just based on what has like merched. And so like 99% of the merch that was related to the series was just Nikolai. And after reading the first book, I was like,
yeah,
right. Where is Nikolai? So I was like, everyone's like, oh, he comes into it in book 2. And I'm like, okay, he's the one that literally all of the merch is, because apparently no one cares about Alina or Mal. And they're the main characters. So like, show me this Nikolai fella.
Yes.
Who's this guy? Yeah. I agree with I'm so sorry, Urza, that she should have stayed single. I mean, same vibes, at least for now. For now, this is how I feel. I don't know how I'll feel once I reread the other two, but yeah, that's how I felt with the Hunger Games too. I'm like, could Katniss have just like been by herself though, maybe? And like,
yeah, right.
I'm feeling like that with this because yeah, I'm waiting. It's got to be in the later books. Jesse, I remember we were talking about like there being a moment where we were like, Mal's the worst. And I can't remember what it was or what happens, but I just remember there being a scene where I'm like, this guy. Oh,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
No, I'm so curious to get there to see if I still feel the same way. Because yeah, it was like 2015 when I read these for the first time. So
yeah, I am curious to see if, because like I loved Melina for the like throughout for like the first time I read it, and now I'm curious. Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe you guys will be like, you know what? Maybe Mal's okay, and I'll be like, I don't remember Mal being the worst, but he's the worst.
Yeah,
time will tell.
Yeah, because I will say, like, when I finished this book, I was like, okay, yeah, Mal. I was like, all right, I can see it. But Jashana, like you're saying, there's something else that comes up.
Yeah, I'm still not even convinced on Mal from this book. I'm just like, he's whatever. I just don't like. I don't mind a childhood best friend who becomes your love interest. I don't mind that. Sometimes that works really well. I've written something with that trope in it, but like, I feel like it's the dynamic of one of them being like having the crush and one of them being like totally oblivious to it until something happens. It's like, again, the Hunger Games, Gale and Katniss, like until she's like in the arena about to die and then like showing interest in this other guy. That's when he's like, wait a minute, she's mine. I love her. Like, dude, you never showed interest before ever. And I just don't like that like ownership vibe of like, I have the right to be the one that is with her just because I've been here I'm like, no, I don't.
Haven't you heard that Passenger song? Only know you love her when you let her go.
Yeah, that's stupid. I don't like it. Like, sucks to suck, buddy. You lost your chance. That's how I feel.
So, I'm curious, did y'all, this is the first time you're rereading it, right? For both of you?
First time rereading it?
First time rereading. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Okay. Did you like it more or less than the first time you read it?
I don't know. I can't remember what I rated it before.
Okay. I think I rated it the same, but I feel like, well, like we were just saying, like everything feels a lot faster. So like to me, I felt like I was reading and like still liking it the same, but feeling like this is too fast. Like
Like,
I
not
do
getting
wish this was
invested.
longer, and like we took a little more time to like get a feel for the army, and then get a feel for what it's like in Ravka, like in Asalta, and get a feel for things, as opposed to just like moving along to the next thing like it's a kids movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't get as connected, I think, like as invested as I may have the first time.
Yeah.
Plus, again, I was very like, this time I know what it's about, but the first time, because I had heard so much about the Grisha books, and I'd already read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. So like for me, I was very curious. Like, so I remember just feeling just kind of like, let's see what all of this is about, and be like, oh, okay, so this is the Darkling that I've heard all these things about. What's his deal? I mean, like, where is Nikolai? Where's this Nikolai? Like, I was like very that, and now I'm like, I know what this is gonna be. So like,
yes. Yeah, and I'm like trying to put myself back in the mindset 6 years ago when I first read it. And I hadn't read like really any adult fantasy books at that point. Yeah. And I was like very much just getting like started reading again. And it was kind of like I was starting with like YA fantasy. And I think having that as kind of the foundation of where I was starting from, just reading YA fantasy, I was like, oh my God, this is so fantastic. Like, I thought the world building was super effective and the character development, I was like, oh, hooked. And now I'm like, whoa, like you were saying, Leah, it goes so fast. And I think it's because I've now started reading adult fantasy primarily, and it's like such a contrast. Yeah. It was really fascinating, but I still really loved it.
Yeah, I still had a good time with it. I still like, enjoyed the experience.
I almost felt relieved that it went by so fast, because like I hate when characters have miscommunication be the thing that's between them, and like it drives me nuts. And like, but in a way that's like, it's not like secondhand embarrassment or cringe, but it's kind of like that, where it makes me so anxious that I'm just like, if you would just talk to each other. Oh, why do you think this? It's not true. And like the fact that this went by so much faster than I remember it going, I was just like, oh, okay, we resolved it. All right, thank God that didn't go on for too long.
Same. I would have been very annoyed. I think the first time I read it, I gave it 4 stars, but this time I think I gave it 3. Like just an even 3. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went by pretty quickly, which was fine. And yeah, I'm the same, where like when I read this, I wasn't on BookTube, and I was mostly reading like either literary fiction or like young adult fantasy. I wasn't reading adult. I wasn't reading adult fantasy though, really at all. So
this sounds like you.
She got pretty. Yeah, seriously. He was like, "Wait a minute." Like, no, dude. But yeah, I think that when I first read it, I just like got more invested in it, and this time around, I was like, I'm not quite as invested, but it was still like a fun time. It's still like I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. It's like not like an all-time favorite, but it was still like such a blast. I really like the world, and I really like Alina. Like, what did you guys think of Alina in this book? Because I see Alina get a lot of like hate, but I think she acts her age. Like, I'm like trying to put myself in her shoes as like a 16-year-old, right? Because she's like 16 in this book.
I think so. Yeah, she's like 16 or 18 or something like that, somewhere in there.
I feel like we were kind of talking about this like in our chat when we were reading, and like I personally feel like a lot of the things that Mal gets blamed for is actually more just to do with how Melina perceives Mal, because like she's the one that constantly, like when they were kids, and she's like, oh, they only want to be friends with me because they want Mal, and they only pay attention to me because they want Mal, and Mal never looked at me twice. And I'm like, he's been the whole time being like, where are you at? And like, I want to show you a thing, and I missed you, and like, let's hang out, and like, I came and found you, and like, yeah, it's always you and me forever. And he's always saying stuff like that. She's like, I wish he'd see me. And I'm like, like, you're the one that's like being. And so then later when you like just like leave and apparently are living your best life, and Mal's like, okay, like we were tight and we were buddies, and now you're just like a sun princess and you've got no use for me now. Okay, well, screw you. Like, I kind of get where Mal's coming from. I'd be like, I'm chopped liver now. Cool.
Yeah, I feel like my thing is just like, it's such a personal thing where like it frustrates me, because I'm like, it's the same thing with like miscommunication. Like, I'm so aggressively not like that I know it's realistic for some people to be like that. And like for Alina, she's pretty insecure. She's like, he can't possibly like me, even though it's like, girl, it's kind of obvious that he's kind of like, he might be interested. You should maybe explore that. But like, I would be like, hey man, I like you. So it's like frustrating for me to have her be like, I'm just such a plain Jane. He wouldn't ever look at me when all these other girls. And I'm like, did you even ask him?
That's her fault, not Mal's fault. And people are like, oh, you only noticed her later. Like,
no, I'm talking about her. I'm saying for her, how I felt about her. Like, I feel like it's annoying, but I get it. Like, she's insecure, you know?
It's like one of those situations where, like, I think the character of Alina was well written. It's like whether or not Joshana, like you're saying,
I like her.
Annoying though. Like, it's like, do you relate to her, or are you like, this is not how I do things? Yeah. And I feel like I probably relate to her. That's probably the teenage.
I feel like I would relate to her too, which is why like I understand why she feels that way about, even if Mal is actually showing like interest and positivity. Like I understand why she's like, but he doesn't actually want me. And like at the same time, that's why I also never blamed Mal for like how he behaved, because I was just like, I know that would be like, I was always the one pushing people away. Like, that was my fault, not his fault.
Yeah, that's true. Darkling, I don't really like that either. At least at this point, I can't remember how I felt later. But in this book, like we were saying, I didn't feel like there was any development there, like any like deeper. It was all very superficial. Like, he's the Darkling, ew. And like we talked literally like 3 times, and then he randomly kissed me, and like I felt things. But like also, you've like never really done that much before. You know what I mean? Like, she said that she'd kissed guys before, but probably like barely or something. I don't know. So it just was like, I didn't feel like it was developed very well for me to care about whether or not they were together or not. And then,
to me, it's also, I mean, like Dark Lena to me means people who ship it. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I don't think I do at this point. I don't know if I will later, because I can't remember if I did. I don't feel like I did. I feel like when I finished the trilogy, I was like, she should just be by herself. But we'll see once I get to the ending this time.
Yeah, with the Darkling, because I remember loving the Darkling, and I still like the Darkling. But when I say like I'm like team Darkling, I don't necessarily mean like I ship Alina and the Darkling together. I just really like the Darkling as the antagonist of the story, because I like when, kind of what we were talking about in our chat before this, I like when the main protagonist, who's the hero, kind of has those like, I don't know, like moral, what am I trying to say? There's like just
conundrums,
decisions,
like justifications,
like and kind of like go towards like the dark side a little bit. Like, I like that, exploring that with a main character who's your hero. And I like that the Darkling kind of does that for Alina.
Oh yeah.
But I don't actually want them together.
Yeah. So like, when I first read it, I was like, I think the Darkling is really well written. And I think the way it's written, I'm absolutely 100% fine with. It's just the people who are like, oh, she should have ended up with the Darkling. Oh, no. The fact that he represents temptation, like he's written as this complex villain who's like morally gray kind of, because like he says stuff where you're like, you're not maybe wrong. Like, I mean, or it's just like, you've kind of taken it to an extreme that's bad, but like, you're saying a lot of things that like, you know, make me question, am I on the side of right? Like, I think he's well written. And I like that he represents temptation for her. But I at no point thought that they should end up together. Like, he literally like put a collar on her. Like, no.
No bueno.
That's probably
dude. Okay, I have a question actually, and maybe it gets explained in the later books, and I just can't remember. But when we were reading this, I was like, okay, so the fold, right? The shadow fold. It's the big bad thing that it's so hard to go across because of the Volcra, right? Like, because there are these evil monsters in there. And like the Darkling's plan to protect them is to expand the Shadowfold to like basically envelop their country, right? Like that's what he wants to do so the other people will stay out.
Mhm.
But he also wants to do away with the Volcra. So I'm like, okay, so then it's just like a dark spot on the land. Why would that keep people away? Did I miss something entirely?
I think what he wants to do is he wants to use the shadow fold. He like wants to expand it.
Yeah.
Only in certain areas though. And he can't at the moment because of the Volcra. And I don't think he cares about making more Volcra. I think he just, in order to expand it, has to get in it and do it from
inside. But then once he's in it and the Volcra are gone, is he gonna like have there be?
I don't think he wants to. I think he's saying he wants to get rid of the Volcra. Like that's his PR. But I don't think he wants to get rid of them. He just needs to keep them at bay from himself. So he keeps Alina next to him as his little torch to keep them away from him, so that he can go into the shadow fold and not die and expand it.
Because the whole time I'm like, all right, so we're gonna do away with the monsters in here, and that it's just gonna be a like, dark. Ooh, I'm in the dark now. I can't possibly cross this. And I was like, this makes no.
We're gonna expand the goth zone.
Yeah, I was like, people will be able to like come across it pretty easily. They'll just have a light. Like what? I was like, I'm missing something here. I'm like thinking too hard about it. Probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
So actually, okay, I'm curious about this as well because like I say Genya.
Okay, that's how I was gonna pronounce it.
Yeah, in my head, I think it's Genya.
Okay, because I think we three are unique in that because I've heard a lot of people say Genya, and I'm like.
Oh, really?
Oh, no, I always thought Genya.
Genya. That's how I
don't know if that's right, but
yeah, you'll have to tell us if that's right.
I guess we'll see also in the show how they say it.
Oh, yeah.
I also did not remember, like, there were a couple side characters that I did remember, but not really, like, Genya and Zoya were two that I didn't really remember from, like, the first book. And
Jade says Genya.
Okay. And I loved Genya in this book. And oh my God, Zoya sucks in this book.
Yeah, she's the worst.
Oh, it is Genya.
Okay, so we're all wrong.
So Jade, you were right. Oh
yeah. We're terribly wrong.
Terribly wrong.
So this comment about audiobook. I don't trust audiobook pronunciations necessarily because I listened to the frickin' Game of Thrones, the first book, audiobook, and they say Petter Baelish. They kept saying Petter. And I was like, who is Petter Baelish?
Well, it could also be that like George R. R. Martin intended it to be Petter, but then the showrunners were like, we cannot have him be called Petter. He will be
maybe that's the case. There was another name they said weird too that I was like, what are these name pronunciations? But yeah, maybe the show.
But the pronunciation thing made me think of another thing, which was like when I first read it, right before that read The Bear and the Nightingale, which now I had just finished reading The Girl in the Tower, which is like I think a lot more authentically Russian. And so it's not like when I first read the Grisha books I was like, oh, super authentically Russian. It's just that I have a more recent point of comparison where it is done kind of well and properly. So like it's not just like a vague sense of like, well, I know it's not correct, but I have a very solid example of it being done correctly, like right before reading this, and I was just like, it's super not correct. Who boy.
Yeah, I also didn't know much about like those details and how accurate they were when I first read it.
Yeah,
and I feel like there was a great video I saw. I'll have to find the channel. Oh
Lord.
Do you guys watch Arrested Development?
No.
Okay, because like they adopt this kid and he doesn't speak English and he keeps saying what is it? But they call him by the thing he keeps saying, Anyang. He keeps saying Anyang and it means hello, but they call him Anyang and because they just keep saying it. And so they just call him Anyang. And every time they say Anyang, he goes Anyang because he thinks they're saying hello. And so then like at the end of the show, he finally like speaks English and they ask him his name and his name is Hello.
Oh my God. So stupid. Oh, that's funny.
I was going to say though, if you're actually interested, there is a channel. I found her channel, Books and Waffles. She did a whole video.
Nina Zenik's channel.
She was Russian, and she vlogged reading the Grisha trilogy to kind of like point out, like, oh, here was what was done well versus this is not accurate. So it was interesting. So maybe you want to check it out. Yeah.
Anyone's curious.
I didn't know any of that, but when I first read it.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it. I mean, I guess I probably didn't assume it was all like super accurate.
I feel like the thing though would be like if you found something that's inaccurate in the Grisha books, you'd be like, okay, but like it's clearly just like nodding to it and inspired by it as opposed to trying to depict it. Whereas if you found mistakes in something like the Winter Night trilogy, you'd be like, that's a mistake, error.
Yeah.
Like it was trying harder to be more accurate.
Yeah, so like the standard is higher. Whereas the Grisha books, you're like, well, what were you expecting?
Loose interpretation.
Yes.
I'm debating if when we're finished with this reread, if I want to reread Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Because I don't know if I do or not. Because when I read these in like 2015, and then I think I read Six of Crows when I started BookTube, so it was at least 2017. And I remember finishing that duology and thinking, I think I liked the trilogy better. But now I'm like, did I though?
I agree. I'm the same exact way, Joshana. Because I read Six of Crows, and then I read the Grisha trilogy, and then I read Crooked Kingdom. And I liked the Grisha trilogy more than Six of Crows. Yeah. But now I bet if I went back and reread it, I'd probably like Six of Crows more. Because I feel like I mean, the characters really don't act their age in Six of Crows. Can we be real? They really don't act their age. But I think that would be like more fun to read again as older adults.
Yeah. I would just like to say that if people have problems with the Six of Crows characters acting their age, those people better not be fans of the Song of Ice and Fire books in which Jon Snow is 14.
Yes.
There, I rest my case.
Little kids.
That's true. But yeah, I feel like it's like more mature because the characters act older. So maybe I will reread them.
I just remember the plot of Six of Crows. Just like it was like exhausting me. I just was like, oh my God. All right, we're on.
It doesn't clip along like Shadow and Bone, where you're like, we just went through all of that in 300 pages.
Yeah, it's more in depth and complex, and there's stuff going on over here and going on over here, and then we're just kidding. We're doing this other thing now, and I was just like, can we? Oh my God, let's be done.
I feel like if the Grisha books were either possibly if they were written today, but definitely if they were adult, I feel like we would spend a whole first book where like the end of the first book is the Darkling taking her away to the little palace. And that's where it would end because like that's the shift that's occurred. It's like now she's going away from everything she's ever known. She might have a power, which we found out on page 500 of the first book. And she's being taken away to the little palace. And then book 2 would be in the little palace where she wonders where Mal is. And we find out more about the government. And we end book 2 with her finally being reunited with Mal and him hating her. And then book 3, we were finally, that's how it would go. Instead, we were just like, next page. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, that was a part that I was annoyed with Alina. And it's like a thing that happens with characters in different situations, in different scenarios. When it's like, when they're in the friggin' woods and they find the friggin' stag and he's like, you gotta kill it because you need to control it, right? And she's like, but I can't. My soft angel heart. And I just don't like it because I'm like, realistically, like this is potentially like fate of the world, like stakes here. And definitely your freedom, like your freedom is at stake here at the very least, at the worst, the fate of the world. Yeah. And you're going to be like, oh, but my soft, gentle heart. And I just don't like it because I'm like, I feel like it's I ranted about this in my video today about like tropes I don't like, where it's like the author trying to make me think in my head, what a nice person she is. I'm like, you can be nice and also do something really hard and crappy. And I'm like, I think could have just killed it. Dang it.
I think the thing about it that annoys me isn't that Alina, because she's young and like the actually having to do something like that, even when you know you have to, like I could see her being just like, I just can't. But the thing that I don't like about it is that the narrative rewards that choice. And by making it, but like, she gave it its life by being Snow White, and now she actually has control over it. And like, I don't like that. Like, I would prefer that maybe later she found a workaround, but she wouldn't have had to find that workaround if she had just done the thing and she regrets it and she's learned her lesson. Like, that would have been a better way to do it instead of being like, oh, but her pure of heartness is actually rewarded in the end. I mean, that's the most fairy tale like part of this, honestly.
It is very fairy tale like. Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree.
Kill the main stag. It'll be okay.
Ooh, burn.
I haven't read that one yet, and I feel like I don't want to because I've heard
It's not bad. I just feel like it's a step. Like, I feel like Six of Crows was like her getting better at writing, and then she took a step down again when she wrote that.
Is there already a sequel for King of Scars?
It's coming out this month.
Okay, I was like, am I making? Is that the wolves thing or something? Rule of Wolves. That's right. Okay. Like something about wolves. I don't know.
I'm very sad. So I'm curious because after I finished the book, I immediately rewatched the trailer.
I watched it like 15 times. Like, no judgment.
What do you guys think now that you've reread the book, watching the trailer? Like, do you have thoughts that change?
I'm still just really curious how they're going to work in both series together. Yes. Like, how that's gonna come across, and like
I feel like I was trying to guess too where they would fit into it, and I feel like when Mal and Alina escape, you know, sort of towards the end of this book, and they're getting on a ship, that they would be taken to somewhere like Kerch, where we would find Kaz and Inej and Warlin, and they would help them with like hiding and escaping until such time as they have to go back.
Yeah, I wonder.
Oh,
like that's what I'm wondering, if they're gonna have them like interact, or if it's gonna be like two separate things that sort of maybe have like potential crossover in the future, but not yet. Like, I'm very, very curious.
Well, they totally opened it up, the writers of the show, by saying like, this is not the most adaptation. So I mean, they can really do whatever they want.
Yeah. Because it looks like they're sticking really close, at least with this first book. Like, some of the lines in the trailer, I'm like, that's literally from the book.
When I was reading the book now, like when we got to those lines, like I could hear Ben Barnes in my head. I could hear the actress Jessie May something or other. You know, who's playing Alina. Like when I've heard, you know, having seen the trailer now like 15 billion times. Like, as soon as I read the text that was like, I'm a map maker, so I was like, I can hear it in my head. Like, it's her.
Yes.
And we're going to change the world thing, he says. I'm like, that's literally like right in the book.
Right there. And the whole ballroom scene when they like present the king.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's the same exact. I was shocked. That was the biggest surprise to me, was rereading the book, seeing how closely that trailer is following at least like the first 30% of that book. Yeah. Because I feel like that's also.
But like, so the first time I saw the actor who was cast as Mal, I was like, that could not look more different from how he's described in the book. But now I'm so used to it, having seen him in so many like pictures, and having seen the trailer a lot, and having him scream, Alina. Like, now when I was reading it, I kept like, my brain kept like seeing like double vision, because I kept seeing him and then be like, no, he looks like a Hemsworth. No, he looks like a Hemsworth.
Hemsworth. Oh my God. I'm still dying that Alan guessed that they were orphans just from the trailer.
Oh my God, hilarious.
It doesn't show that they're orphans, they are. But.
Yeah. Like, how'd you know they were orphans?
We got everything else super wrong. But yeah.
Oh God, too funny.
Okay, so like, how do you guys feel about Ben Barnes playing the Darkling? I have mixed opinions.
Oh, I love it.
What else has he been? I don't know who.
He was Prince Caspian in
what I liked him in was Westworld. I don't know if you guys have watched Westworld. Oh, fantastic show.
The first season I saw.
And he was very villainous. He was like not a good guy in that show. And so when he was cast as the Darkling, I was like, oh my God, I see it.
He played Dorian Gray in the newer adaptation of Dorian Gray.
Ooh, I haven't seen that, but I don't
think I've seen him in anything, so like I don't really have much opinion, but I think he looks the part.
But I feel like, I feel like fans, like back when these books came out, thought that Ben Barnes would be a good Darkling, at which time he would have looked the right age to be the Darkling, and I would have agreed then. But now, like, and he wouldn't have been my first choice, but I would have been like, that's fine. My first choice for the Darkling, the way I pictured him when I was reading it, and even now, would have been Cillian Murphy. And when they were doing the show, I was like, yeah, but it's too bad. Cillian Murphy's too old now. And then they cast Ben Barnes, and I was like, well, if Ben Barnes can do it, then Cillian Murphy can certainly do it.
How old is he in real life?
Ben Barnes is like 40.
What?
Yeah.
He looks.
Oh, I don't think he looks that old. I thought he looked like in his late 20s. Maybe.
I think technically he's like 38 or 39, but he's like 40.
Yeah, I thought he looked like he was like in his late 20s. So I was like, well, I mean, because I thought she was like 17 or 18. And doesn't she say he looks like a few years older than her? So I was imagining like in his early 20s probably. And I was like, well, he could work, I guess. I don't know. He was actually that old.
But they also talk a lot about how like the paleness of his eyes, and Cillian Murphy has that like boyish face with those really pale eyes, and the way he looked like in the Batman movie, like when he was still like younger, like peak Darkling, perfect like boyish face of eternal villainy.
I love Peaky Blinders, so I'm like, yeah, put Cillian Murphy in anything and I'll watch it.
Yeah, she does talk about his friggin' eyes a lot. She keeps calling it slate.
And Ben Barnes like doesn't
gray
have
or
those eyes.
That's true.
Gray something or other eyes, gray slate or whatever the crap she keeps calling it.
Yeah, it does.
Like, and also because like,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say because Cillian Murphy has this like weirdly ethereal, like he could be like 1,000 years old or 10 years old, hard to tell. Ben Barnes is too normal. Like he looks handsome and normal.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that it seems like they're kind of aging up the characters a little bit for the show. And I think it's going to have a more mature tone, because the book does read pretty darn young. So I definitely think the show is going to like age up and make it a little more mature.
We'll match the tone of Six of Crows more.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like it for sure.
Yeah. So.
Fingers crossed.
We've got another Peaky Blinders fan. Woohoo!
He's the best.
I need to try to watch that again. I watched the first like few episodes and like I liked it, but then I don't know why I just like stopped watching it.
Well, it's funny because like until we got a casting, like I feel like me and I'm not the only one used like as a stand-in for Cass Brecker, used gifs of Cillian Murphy and Peaky Blinders as like alternate Cass Brecker. But if I was to cast him in the Grishaverse, he'd be the Darkling, not Cass Brecker.
Yeah, who's the guy for Cass Brecker?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything else, but I think it's like
that with such disdain, Anna. Some nobody. Dang.
His name is Freddie Carter, isn't it? That sounds right.
That does sound right.
It's something Carter for sure.
The casting, I feel like they did a pretty solid job with the cast. I mean, we'll see how like the acting goes, I guess, but as far as the
you are being told by all, Joshana, that you need to watch Peaky Blinders.
Listen, I did watch some of it. You know,
it does start slow. It starts pretty slow.
Like I remember, I won't get all into that, but yeah, I remember
that is Freddie Carter.
Yeah, there was like a chick singing right in Peaky Blinders, singing in a bar. Was that Peaky Blinders?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
In the first
like
season.
Mesmerizing everybody with her like Irish song or whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm not a man.
You sound like Alan talking about Denna now. Such disdain, like, oh, some girls singing.
Mesmerizing people or something.
With the men leaning while they're listening.
How dare they? Everyone's wearing black. Is that what he said?
No, it's just in black and white. I was going to say the one scene that made me angrier than any other scene in this book was the scene when Mal and Alina are reunited for the first time in the palace, and Mal is like, I don't want to talk to you, and she's like so happy to see him, and he's just like pouty, like
he was just assuming so much, like he just was assuming he knew everything, like. And like she said, what? Oh, I'm so sorry. I wasn't being tortured. Like, my bad. Dude, what? You're mad that like I'm living okay and like I'm wearing nice clothes. Like,
so
forgive me. It's like, yeah.
Mal,
exactly.
That's why that was.
But he does like apologize for that when he's like, I reacted badly.
Men apologize for a lot of things.
See, like, again, that's what I'm like, I don't really blame Mal for, like, in the moment. Like, if he had doubled down and been like, I was correct to react that way, I'd be like, no. But because in the moment, after like spending so long worrying and putting your like life and limb at risk, thinking you need to save her, and turns out not only is she fine, she's super fine, and she's into another man, and his like, and he didn't get any letters, so he's like, she's literally forgotten about me, and wasn't worried about me at all. Like, okay.
He's happy she's alive and well, and he can have his little complicated emotions when they have a conversation, but his initial reaction should have been joy at her thriving. Like, oh my God, you're alive. I don't, it rubs me the wrong way. I just like the overreaction, like, just irks me. And
to me, it's also like, it read as like, if she had just been just generally in the palace and just like generally fine, I don't think he would have reacted as strongly. But because he had already started developing a real hatred for the Darkling, and to see her so chummy with the Darkling, it'd be like seeing, like, thinking someone's in danger and then seeing them like macking with Lord Voldemort, and you're like, oh, it's like that. Okay, goodbye.
Ew, no, I'm backing with
oh, gross. Well, but then I think Rachel said something earlier in the chat about like, then he's like, I never want to see you wear black again. Like, gross, dude. You're so weird and possessive and controlling. No, like, and I mean, I'm probably, because I don't think I felt that strongly about it the first time I read it. I definitely have like personal life experiences now that make me just like really jump on that. Like, nope, that feels weird and possessive. And it's weird because I like alpha male romances, but that's like so fictionalized to me, so silly. Like, I would never actually want that. And I don't like that Mal is like lauded as like, she should be with him. I'm like, no, he's kind of controlling though. I don't like it. And like pouty and childish. I just
grumpy. I don't
grumpy. Yeah.
Eyes.
Just a little. I don't like it.
Honestly, like, I like, if there's anyone in the books that I identify with, it's Mal. So I'm very like, I would act exactly like he does. So I'm like, stop it. I'm not the worst.
You're not. You are not. Yeah, what Rachel just said. How do you go from BFF to possession, boy? Stop. Exactly. Like, there's no lead up. Oh, I just don't. That's why I like childhood friends to lovers, when it's like a gradual, like, we start flirting together. We start, do we? Maybe. Okay. We're flirting, whatever. Like, in The Extraordinaries, I thought it was done really well, where like they both clearly had crushes on each other, and it was so obvious to everyone else. And it was even really obvious to one of them, but the other one like was slower to get it. He also had like extreme ADHD. So that was like part of why he just was like all over the place all the time. But he was constantly thinking like, I think I love him. And like, wait, maybe does he? Maybe. And I like that kind of thing. I just don't like it like in the Hunger Games and in this, when it's just like nothing. We're best friends. And then I see you with someone else. And now all of a sudden I'm angry with you because you should be with me. Like, why are you mad? I don't like when they get mad. I think is like,
okay, like, not to defend Mal again, but I'm going to defend Mal again. But so like for me, like the Hunger Games example, I think is different because like it was Mal had like the moment she was gone, like we didn't see it because we're in Alina's head, but the moment she was gone, he was like, I've lost her. And like, that's when it switches for him. As soon as she's gone, he's like, I miss her. I took her for granted. I need her back. I didn't know like how much I relied on her. Like, oh fuck, I need to do anything I need to do to get her back. And then after like doing all that and seeing her, he's like, oh, and she forgot I existed and is with Lord Voldemort.
But that's an assumption. Like, what did he want her to do? Sitting there crying? He wanted to show up and have her be like in the corner, like Mal.
But it's not like he like worried about her until he saw her with the Darkling. It wasn't just seeing her with the Darkling. That was just like the icing on his bitter cake, where he was just like, "Fuck you."
I don't like it. I don't mind that he like. I don't even mind that like it took her being gone for him to be like, "Oh shoot, I took her for granted." I don't mind that. I just don't like the anger. the showing up and being like, screw you, because I'm assuming that you forgot about me because you look happy right now. And it's been months. You're not allowed to be happy for the rest of your life because I'm not here. Like, no, dude, she's allowed to smile sometimes. She's allowed to wear a nice dress and like have an okay night. You know, I just...
but also there are people on my team as well.
Yeah.
There are. The whole Mal and Alina, it's very divided. It always is.
What I would
So Jesse, which team are you on?
I'm a little more on Team Joshana for this one. I will say, I do think that we are going to, in the show, get Mal's perspective when Alina leaves, and his perspective when he's hunting for the stag, which I think will justify, if they keep the same reaction for Mal, like they keep the scene the same when they reunite, I think it will justify that reaction more if we've seen Mal's perspective, because just seeing Alina's in the book is very limiting. So of course, like it reads so like, oh my God, grumpy Mal, I can't. But if we see Mal, maybe not act grumpy in his own perspective, then maybe, I don't know, maybe the show will change.
Well, also I feel like, because again, like a lot of like we're predisposed to think kind of negatively about Mal because Melina's been like, he doesn't see me, and you're like, that's not
totally
true.
Did. Yeah, I thought.
And so like, because like in the show you can't hear her thoughts. It's just going to be them interacting, and you make your own judgments. You'll see they're like really tight with each other, and then she like leaves, and he's freaking out, and then like he sees her, and you're like, oh, you're fine. Okay, great.
I think the show might actually depict their relationship better than the book does, since we're so limited in the book to just Alina's perspective.
I think I also annoyed.
I suspect that Alina won't be written as mealy-mouthed and like, oh, no one sees me. I'm just so ugly and no one wants me. Like, I don't think he won't act like that either. So
yeah.
I mean, I think that he can be redeemed for me in the show, but if they have that scene and I don't care what he went through, how sad he was, if he shows up and he's still pissed at her and assuming that she, like, I just don't like the concept of you have to be miserable always 100% of the time. Otherwise, obviously you forgot about me. I just don't.
I agree.
Rubs me. So I'll still be like, dude, no, if that's how they have him react, but maybe they'll change his reaction. Maybe it won't be so stupid.
I hope so.
Okay with this.
I do agree with you on this one, Shoshana. Sorry.
Like, I feel like this takes like, it makes it weird and like the opposite of romantic, but honestly Mal's reaction very much reminds me of like if like a parent, like they went to pick up their kid from school and the kid isn't there, and then they're like calling everybody, worried about it, and the neighborhood watches out, and then like, oh, I just decided to walk home. Like, I'm fine. I'm here. I'm eating cereal in the kitchen. And the mom's like, don't ever do that to me. What the fuck? And you're like, you're not mad that the kid's fine, but you're like, you put me through all of that.
Yeah, but she got taken. So she didn't just walk home on her. She didn't make a choice. He knew she got taken. You know?
But it's that same reaction of like, you've been so worried that like, seeing that like, you're just like taking out your like frustration that you've been like so freaking out, and you're like, and you feel a fool for having freaked out because they were clearly fine. And you're like, ah.
You know, I could have who could have put money on that this live show would turn into a Mal discussion. I could have called that. That's like, it's so divisive. The Mal thing is so divisive in this series.
It is.
But yes, at least we can agree. I don't think anyone in this chat is a Darklina shipper, because that I'm like, you have problems. That is not. I was like, you like, it's okay, you cannot like Mal, but if you're gonna argue that the Darkling is less toxic than Mal,
not at all. And I mean, I can't remember like I said, in the later books, but certainly in this first book, like I said, any relationship she had with him is like the most superficial, literally based in nothing other than like, oh, he's the Darkling. He's handsome and mysterious and kind of scary. And he kissed me once. Like, no, there's nothing there. Like, to even root for, really. Like, what?
I mean, I guess there's like that thing that's like the magical like calls to like, that his darkness and her light, that she feels like physical, because he's an amplifier, you know, that so there's that like it's your body talking, not your brain, where it's like the magical version of pheromones, her Grisha power is like.
And I can also see how, like, she's very obviously insecure and is
exactly. Nothing wrong with that at all.
But she's like very insecure in this book, very much teenager, feels very out of place her whole life, doesn't really feel like she belongs. And then this Darkling shows up, and he's not bad to look at, and he makes her feel super special and makes her feel like, oh, I could be something bigger, and gives her all this potential. So I can see her being like attracted to that too. But yeah, in this book particularly, I don't think like it never seemed like they should end up together.
You know what they didn't show in the trailer, but I'm really excited to see is Bagra.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Bagra. Yeah, I had forgotten about Bagra.
Yeah, me too. I totally forgot about the twist in the book.
Yeah.
Like, as I was reading it, and then I got to that part and I was like, oh, that's right.
Oh, I definitely remembered that.
I totally forgot. I mean, it's been like 6 years, so it's not.
Yes.
We have other Bagra fans.
Yeah, she's great. She's the old.
She's the Baba Yaga character.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't super pay attention to how it's described, but this is how I envisioned it the first time I read it, and I didn't bother paying attention. I just went with how I pictured it before. That there's like a palace where they all live, and then like a little shed hut that's next to it where she lives.
Yeah, that's exactly what I pictured.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then why can't she live in the nice house with everybody else? Why does she have this little shed that's like the tool shed next to the little palace? Like, it's like, you know, it's like the in-law unit of a house, but like way extremely disparate like, accommodations inside.
The back corner on the property.
Respect your elders. Don't put them in the shed.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have to look up who's playing her because
it's the actress, I don't remember her name, but she's in a lot of British stuff. She plays Madam Hooch in the Harry Potter movies, the Quidditch professor. Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Okay.
I can see that because I pictured her as like a little.
She's a little grumpy.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Who I haven't seen like Jenya, I guess it is. And like Zoya, who's playing them, I haven't seen.
Yeah, and I think
we saw Genya in the trailer.
Yeah,
like
she walks by really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's just like dressed in really. It's like a brief glimpse of fancy people in like Asalta.
And I'm also curious, like where I start to like Zoya, because in this book she was not so nice.
I feel like it's only in the third book that we start to like Zoya.
Third book, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I always like Zoya's name the best out of all of them. Zoya Nazulensky. I feel like it's just such a Russian-y sounding name.
This is good casting. I feel like she looks like the pretty girl.
Yeah.
The pretty girl. Yeah.
Oh, for Genya?
No, for Zoya.
Oh, Zoya.
Oh yeah, now I want to see.
Well, there's also like the fact that the way she was written in the Grisha trilogy is different from how her ethnicity is like retconned in the King of Scars.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who's
there's no reason to assume that she's anything but like a white, basically Russian girl in the Grisha trilogy, but you find out that she's like half Suli, I think, in King of Scars.
Yes.
So they have to get somebody that looks mixed race.
Yeah, I don't know what like nationality she is. Her name is Sujaya Dasgupta.
Oh yeah, I totally can. Yes, but this is what I would picture. I feel like
she's
that's a very good casting.
The girl playing Genya doesn't look how I thought. I guess.
Okay, now I know.
Right?
She looks pretty much how I would have pictured.
Is that her? I don't know if this is her or if this is like some of the. It's like a bunch of different actresses. So I'm like, which one is it? Because
The one that I would like, if I'm correct about which one it is, I'm kind of disappointed in how Nina looks. That's not how I would have pictured Nina.
Yeah.
I think Jenya looks good. I don't know what's her name.
Is this?
Anyways, I think
sorry, I'm getting all distracted looking at it.
The casting, I think, was really well done for the show overall.
Yeah, overall, like I'm not like pissed about any of it. No. There's just like, you know, once and I'm like, okay, all right, I'll just have to get used to that.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm super curious.
And I wasn't super sold on like the Kaz and Jesper casting, but then seeing them like embody the roles, like their body language, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm on board with this.
That Jesper wink in the trailer.
Yeah.
I need to watch the trailer again because I've only watched it the one time.
Yeah, you gotta go watch it.
How do you resist?
Sorry, guys. Jeez.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like the first book was the one I remembered the most, and I didn't even remember Bagra in it. So that shows you how much I remember. So I'm very curious to read the second and third book.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I mean, you remember, I'm sure you remember the first book and then plus Nikolai.
Yes,
no?
I remember Nikolai, but I don't remember how they meet him. I don't remember.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. I do, but I think we're not doing spoilers for books 2 and 3. So
yeah, I mean, luckily,
I don't remember any of that.
Remember, so. Yeah, only once. I'm sorry. So, it's heresy.
But also, are we getting more trailers before it drops? Because like, okay, I've watched that 50 billion times now. I need a new one.
Wasn't that called the teaser trailer? So I imagine
it's quite long for a teaser trailer.
There will be at least one. Which characters belong to the Six of Crows book? Oh, that's like Kaz, Jesper, Inej, Nina. Yeah, the only characters from Six of Crows that we're not going to see are Wylan and like people who are like the only main character is Wylan because they only meet him in Six of Crows, whereas the others like have stuff going on already. Oh yeah, that you like is like their backstory.
Right. Yeah. Oh man, I'm so excited.
I know. Like as soon as like Freddie Carter like flipped that cane into his other hand, I was like, yeah, you could be Kaz. I'll allow it.
I need to watch it when we're done.
Ooh, okay, that's very good news.
Okay, yeah, I figured there would be. There would have to be.
I didn't want to count on it.
Don't they usually do two full trailers for Netflix shows?
Hope so.
I don't know.
For like the Umbrella Academy, they have, I think.
I never usually pay attention to trailers because I don't usually care that much. But now I'm like, how many do we get?
You care about the Umbrella Academy.
Also, do we know if they're dropping it all at once or if it's going to be like 1 week, like every one per week or something?
I bet it's all at once.
I bet it's all at once.
I hope so.
Do they do that very often on Netflix? The 1 week?
I mean, in the past they didn't, but I mean, like a lot of like Amazon used to also just drop things immediately, but they started with The Boys doing it like 1 per week. Yeah. And then WandaVision has been 1 per week and Mandalorian's been 1 per week. So Netflix might be like, we might try that. It's like, no.
I hope not.
I must binge.
Yeah.
I need to binge it.
That's my thing with TV shows. I want to be able to just like sit down and just watch it all and then be done.
Yeah, with currently airing shows, I'm always behind and like trying not to look at spoilers because I'm like, no, I'm waiting until I have at least like 10 in the can so that I can like binge at will.
Yeah, I'm excited.
But so we did like our reread.
Yes. I loved it. I had a blast.
Yeah,
I'm so excited to read the next one. I feel
like I did kind of feel like I was like I could just like dive right into Siege and Storm. I'm like, nah, I should wait and create some
Yeah.
I remember the second one being my least favorite. It was like the one that dragged the most, so I'm curious. But that's all.
The second one dragged the most?
The second one, I think I remembered dragging the most, but I just don't remember what happens. So we'll see.
I remember just being super pumped to finally meet this Nikolai fella that like I didn't drag just because I was like, it's finally happening.
Yeah. And he's great.
Yeah, I had no idea about anything when I read it. I'm very curious. We shall see.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'll like it more on the second.
I remember thinking like of all of the covers, I think I like that best because it's like, or the paperback one is like bright teal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
it looks like your sweater, Jesse. I wear that for the Siege and Storm live show.
Yes.
Nice. Too fun. Yeah, it was a positive reread. I rated it lower than the first time, but like I didn't dislike it or anything. I wasn't like, oh god, why did I like this?
I am very curious if you are going to reread Six of Crows, if now you'll be like reversing your opinions, like
yeah, maybe
come down and
maybe.
I feel like I will.
I owned Six of Crows. I had I think I pre-ordered it or something. I don't know. I had it and then I read Crooked Kingdom and then I unhauled both of them. So I don't own them now. I was like, I'm never going to read this again. I just didn't want to ever read again. So I got rid of it. Sorry.
You never say
Shauna, why are we friends?
I don't know. Sorry.
Well, no,
I need my car
That's like my criteria. That's my criteria for keeping books usually. Once I read them is like, do I see myself rereading this? And if not, then I'm like, nah. And at the time, I just was like, I don't think I'll ever reread this. I just don't care.
I mean, to be fair, I unhauled Red Rising because I thought I would never read it again. And now I really, really want to read it again because I want to continue on. So
we
don't reread Red Rising. Just go right to Golden Sun.
Really? I don't have to. Yeah. Okay, then I'll.
If there's anything you feel like you've forgotten, just ask me. Don't read it again.
Okay. You'll just have to tell me the character roles. I only know Darrow. That's like literally all I.
You surely remember Severo.
Nope.
Okay, well, yeah.
She's gonna need a rundown.
I'll fill you in. Give you the cliff notes.
Okay.
Someone understands me. Yay, with Six of Crows. Thank you. Thank you, Bruno. Oh, Lord. I feel validated. I'm not the only
until
one.
You reread it and you're like, what was I thinking?
I think also to the hype at the time, like it was like when it first came out and everybody's like, this is the best thing I've ever read. Oh my God. And like freaking out. And I was over here like, I mean, it's cool, I guess.
See, for me, it was like, I'd never heard of Lee Bardugo or the Grishaverse. I just like Six of Crows was like, oh, a new bestseller. And I was like, I read the synopsis. I was like, yeah, I could read that. So I like read it just like completely independently of anything else, just being like, yeah, I really liked that. And then like read the second one. I was like, there's some cameos from Grisha characters, but I was like, who were those people? Like, that was a weird little interlude. Like we could have cut that. That wouldn't have made a big difference. And then like find out that, oh, there's like a whole trilogy and that was like a fun cameo. I was like, oh, and then like all the merch and like Nikolai and everything. I was like, oh, so like I went into the Grisha trilogy being like, this is like hyped and there's like characters like the Darkling. I've heard of him. So there was a lot more like stuff in my brain going into the Grisha trilogy being like, let's find out. But Six of Crows was just me in the book being like, yes, I like this.
You have a troll, Mr. L.
Oh, there he is, fresh off his live stream, coming in.
Where is Kaz?
Kaz Brecker is right here. No mourners, no funerals.
Oh my God.
I feel like I'm gonna have to reread that duology when I'm done rereading this. Just to see. But who knows? I might DNF it. We'll see.
Well, maybe we can get Joshana, if you want to like buddy read and do a reread, maybe we can get Alan to read it.
Yes. He can get to know.
I honestly think that if Alan like doesn't go into it determined to hate it, there's a good chance that he wouldn't hate the Six of Crows duology.
Yeah, I don't know if he would hate. I don't think he would hate it.
I don't think he would hate it.
I don't know. Everybody's talking about Kaz leaning.
I love the open-mindedness, Alan.
It's in your picture of punishments? Oh, I don't think you would hate it, though. I don't know. Maybe you would. I thought you would hate Fireborn, so what do I know?
I don't think there's any chance that he would like the Grisha trilogy, but I think Six of Crows, like, solid chance he'd like it.
Yeah, he could have a decent time with it. I think so.
Because it's honestly not as romance heavy as like the Grisha trilogy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like a crime and a heist and the cavalry.
Yeah.
I'm telling you should read Throw to Glass because he would read it. But man, I wish she didn't put so much romance so that Alan could read one of her books because he would love the freaking Here Comes Cavalry.
Yes. Six of Crows has a heist.
The whole
Alan
has a very extensive, long drawn out heist.
Well, I was gonna say, like, honestly, like Six of Crows, people always like to lump together Six of Crows and The Gentleman Bastards. I don't think that's a good one-to-one, but I do think the first Mistborn book is more similar in the like getting the crew together and this like heist of a century like
I don't
thing.
even remember a heist in Mistborn.
The whole first book is a heist.
I don't remember that at all.
Like the whole thing.
Like, yeah.
Oh my god, no, they don't rob a Hot Topic.
Oh my god.
God, I need
Yes. Listen
a
to us,
fanfic.
Ellen. We know you.
Perhaps a Spencer's Gifts, he said.
I need a fan fiction of the Six of Crows characters robbing.
Oh my god.
You know where the Saddle and Bone official Netflix merchandise will be? Probably Hot Topic. So.
True.
Oh my god, I love it.
It'll sell out so fast that you will have to commit crimes to get it.
Yeah.
I smell a fanfic.
Oh my god, so funny.
Under the surface. Oh Lord, too funny. Well, yay for successful reread.
Yeah, I'm super pumped to read Siege and Storm. I'll
Yeah.
find my Nikolai mug before then so that I can have it for the live show.
Perfect.
Got all the stuff.
Super excited. Your channel, right, Joshana?
Yeah.
Yes, let's tell the good people the date and time because we decided it like today.
What date again? I don't remember. The 28th.
28th.
28th at
Same time as this. So
time.
2 p.m. PST, 4 p.m. CST,
Yes.
5 p.m.
well, it'll be different. It'll be daylight. So 4 p.m. CST will be. Wait, because I don't change. I'm in Arizona, so I never change. So I don't remember.
So are you in?
Then it'll be 2 p.m. PST, and I will be PST then.
Okay.
Oh, you and I will match then. But me and
part of
Jesse
the
is
year,
changing for
part
us.
of the year Arizona is PST. Part of the year it's MST, but we will be PST then. Okay, that's fine. All right.
Oh, it's so like what?
It's very
These are like
weird.
time crimes.
But yeah, same time on my channel.
But on a Sunday. It'll be Sunday the 28th.
Yes.
Yep.
Very excited.
Woo-woo.
Where apparently we will rediscover our loathing for Mal.
We will be having an in-depth Mal discussion, I'm sure.
That's all these live shows is going to be. It's just going to be like prosecuting Mal. And I, the defense, will win the day.
Oh, Lord. I love it.
All right.
Who knows? By the end of it all, we could be like, Melina forever.
Maybe.
And I'll be like, oh, fuck Mal.
I'm going to keep my mind open.
It's possible. It is possible.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, good to know. I definitely don't. Yep, thank you, because I don't know. I barely know when things like how to calculate PST. I always am like, I'm probably wrong. I Google it every time.
I love it.
Just this morning, I double checked, even though we'd already announced it.
I had to go look. I was like, what time in my time is it? I had to go on YouTube and like check to see what it showed up as on the in my sub.
What is time? It's a cultural construct.
It really is.
All right. Well, this was fun.
It was. So reading it and talking with you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for this idea and for having us on your channel.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Yeah. So it'll be on Joshana's channel on the 28th.
Perfect.
Woohoo.
Everybody, head
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for doing this journey.